This is Providence Television International, the game changer.
Welcome to the newspaper analysis on Providence Television International. I am Ugbebo Ikikwa. Quite a lovely morning, and I hope you're having a lovely day. To analyze the papers today, I will be doing that with the Chief Executive Officer of Providence Television International, Dr. Emmanuel Igariba. You're welcome to the studio.
Yes, as usual, I want to say thank you to our viewers. You stayed glued to us, and we're happy about that, both locally and internationally. You're there for us, but we always do your bidding. Thank you very much for being here.
And so before we delve into the papers this morning, the CEO definitely has something for us.
Well, many people do not know this, but today is June 10, and it's very significant in our national history. On this day, way back in 1923, Sir Herbert Macaulay, the founder, or rather the father of Nigerian nationalism, established the first political party in this country on June 10, 1923. And what's the name? The Nigerian National Democratic Party, NNDP, way back in 1923. And by the way, Sir Herbert Macaulay was born in 1864. He died in 1946 at the age of 81. He was the first civil engineer in Nigeria. He trained in England, in Plymouth, England. Father of Nigerian nationalism, yes, that's true. And his mother, Abigail Macaulay, was the daughter of the legendary Bishop Ajayi Crowther, for instance. So he came from an elite background. He even went to CMS Grammar School, Bariga, which is the oldest secondary school in Nigeria. But that's the man for you. And I think that we have to pay tributes to him. Today we are talking about parties that are not particularly founded on the best ideals. But he founded the Nigerian National Democratic Party. So we can just go off the picture now and talk about a few other things. We are happy that his memory lingers, and of course we remember him as having worked in tandem with people like Azikiwe and the rest, who we consider to be the founding fathers of this nation. So, but that's going back into history. June 10, 1923, and that was the day Sir Herbert Macaulay founded the first political party in this country, the Nigerian National Democratic Party. So back to you.
Well. There's a question I'm going to throw as regards this. This is where they had this aura around them, great men of those times. Can we regenerate this kind of individuals with what we see presently in our political terrain?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, these were nationalists, really. Their ideals, all the things they thought about this country were embedded in their actions and their psyche. They were great people. Great people, yes, we can understand that. You can reel them out. About Macaulay, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Ernest Colley, and the rest. These were great Nigerians who were altruistic. They were very selfless. And they just wanted Nigeria to be a great country. But what do we find these days? There are question marks around some of the people we find around today. Okay, so, but we thank God for people like Sir Herbert Macaulay. So many years after, his name still lingers. And I will look forward to a day when some political parties will now change their names to NNDP, Nigerian National Development Party, or rather Democratic Party, in the memory of Herbert Macaulay. Yes, we tended to have lost that in the course of time, but it's still possible. We can do that, and we can do it well if we care to do it.
Well, still on politics. Front page of the Vanguard newspapers. Presidency, Obi, clash over fuel subsidy forex policies.
Well, Obi has always talked about this. He's a man who is given to industrialization and all of that. And don't forget that when we're being made to believe that subsidy was gone, we thought that the savings from there will be used to cushion the effects of whatever. But now, we are borrowing more money. And I think that's the question on the lips of so many people. We are borrowing money to cushion the effects of subsidy removal. That's what people like Obi are quarreling with. Exchange rate, of course, I'm happy now they say, the presidency says that very soon, very, very soon, the Naira will come up a little bit. We're still radiating around 1,600, exactly. 1,700. But that is a far cry from what Nigerians expect, for example. Because you see, as long as the Naira is down, all other things will go down with it. And I imagine that fuel will come down still. I've always hammered on that. When fuel price is up, all other things are up. I mean, in terms of goods and services. So I want to believe that with time, fuel will come down to about 400 naira, 450 naira. So life can be made more meaningful for the average Nigerian. But as it is, I'm happy though that people like Obi have been very consistent in saying certain things. And I wish that the president, never mind that he's talking from a position of opposition, I wish that the presidency will listen to him. Let's listen to the message and not necessarily to the messenger. And I think that's the lesson on the table right now.
All right. Well, if you have been following Providence Television news, just yesterday we talked about 34 embassies that will be closed, will be shut down in Abuja due to ground rent. And on the front page of the Daily Independent, Serap is saying, or rather, Serap urges Tinubu to stop Wike from shutting 34 embassies.
Which are the embassies? We must be very careful, really, so we don't injure our diplomatic relations with some of these countries. Some of them really might be very friendly countries, countries that have been very helpful to us, and then suddenly the minister is saying no, you must shut them down. It's injurious to diplomatic relations. For example, how much, what has it done to the fact that these people have been giving warnings and things like that? We've not been told that, really. And Nigerians are not happy with that. And I will urge the president to come down pretty heavily on the minister. I mean, there are boundaries.
Exactly.
Okay, particularly in international relations. There are boundaries. And I'm happy though that many Nigerians have been talking about this. I think there's even one or two editorials in some of the national newspapers talking about this, that Wike must be stopped from carrying out this kind of action. In any case, who do you want to please? Exactly. Yes, I mean, it just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. It doesn't even add up to our international image. Right, because I don't imagine that this kind of thing will happen in other advanced countries.
Very true. Although he has a strong point, the person of Wike, that some of these embassies are owing about 43 years. There's one that doesn't pay for about 43 years. Ground rent.
Well, that has to be verified. I mean, I don't understand. That has to be truly verified. And we must wait for the reactions of some of these embassies. Okay. But what I'm saying is that, look, there must be a lawful order, okay, to be sure that our relationship with some of these countries is not battered.
Exactly.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Well, talking about relationships, the political parties now, we've seen a great movement to one political party, and there is a question on the lips of everybody: is Nigeria turning into a one-party state? Front page Punch newspapers: Hurricane Tinubu sweeps 12 more senators, reps.
We are talking about the political parties. I mean, a little while ago, I just talked about Macaulay, the founding fathers of this great nation. I'm not sure this is what they intended. I mean, in terms of development of the political parties, okay? They must be writhing in pain in their graves at the moment that political parties have been reduced to this kind of scenario. Okay, but I worry. I'm just like many Nigerians do. Why do we need to jump ship on a regular basis? There are many politicians in this country who in the last 10 years have been members of more than 2, 3 political parties, just jumping from one place to the other. I mean, my idea is stay within the party that voted into power and develop it. Okay. It doesn't help the democratization process, for example. It doesn't. And for the love of Luca, Many of them are jumping to the ruling party and all that. And very soon there will be congestion. And after that, there will be an implosion. I'm not a prophet, but that's what a lot of experts are saying. You are congesting the party. And in any case, let's look at it. Some of these parties, some of these people that are moving from one place to the other, what were their contributions in the parties they are leaving behind? Yes, there are, some of them are just been given to opportunism, right? So look at Labour Party, for instance. Labour Party just came on board a couple of years ago, and some of the senators, House of Reps members, are already leaving the Labour Party. Why don't you stay to develop the party? Okay, they are jumping, leaving Labour Party in some old shadows. It just doesn't add up, doesn't it? To me, it doesn't add up at all, because you see, yes, I argued the other day that, truly speaking, it's not a one-party state, because you still have fragments of these parties here and there. Not until we have all the governors being members of the APC, all the senators, all the House of Reps members, we shouldn't be talking about a one-party system. A one-party system doesn't help much. It doesn't help. It doesn't grow democracy. The beauty of democracy lies in multiple participation. Okay. That's where the beauty of democracy comes in. Right.
All right. Before we move over, some of these legislators or politicians that have been jumping ship, as the case may be, they've come out to argue, like especially for those who are with the Labour Party, as regards the crisis, that there is no way their political career will thrive while they remain in the party.
And the question to ask them is a throwback: what have they done to bring Labour Party together? That's a throwback. I mean, if you are in the party, you must contribute. That's what I said a little while ago. You must contribute to the well-being of that political party. Some of them, they just won on the basis of the popularity of Obi at the time, and after that, they have been left in the lurch. Okay, and they are jumping to a ruling party, for instance. And I just believe that. I mean, look at the United States, for instance. Have you ever heard a Democrat moving from Democratic Party to Republican? No, it doesn't happen, because they believe in ideals. They believe in certain principles. And they believe that they can work it out. We don't believe we can work it out in this country. I mean, that's one of our problems. Okay? In England, for instance, you see members of Labour Party. They've been there for years. Conservative Party, they've been there for years because they believe in the principles of those parties. They don't jump from one place to the other. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's quite ridiculous.
Well,
in any case, let me just quickly mention this. Senator Ndume is very controversial. Senator Ndume, he said maybe a day or two ago that yes, politicians are jumping, but let us remember that in 2027, voters will not jump ship.
Exactly.
That's what he said. Well, I don't know. He said so. We're just quoting him. But the validity of that will be proven. I mean, come to 2027.
Well, talking about loyalty, we had a leader in the country at the time named Abacha. And when he died, so many accusations were leveled against him about money laundering and all that. His wife has come out to say, and we quote in the front page of the Tribune newspapers, Abacha didn't annul June 12 election, never stole money. Miriam defends late husband.
Why now? After so many years, after the demise.
Maybe as regards the book that Babangida came up with, to say that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, people are just reticent. They are unnecessarily reticent. And in any case, Switzerland, the United States, and a few other countries have said, look, we have this guy's money in our accounts.
Exactly.
In our respective countries. And we have alluded to that, to say that, look, we even call it the Abacha loot. Yes. In this same country, we call it the Abacha loot. Where was the family to deny that? Yes. I mean, I really do not understand what's going on in this country. And there have been successive governments after Abacha. Okay? But the truth of the matter is that why must there be an ascription to Abacha, even with all these billions that have been stacked away? And truly speaking, I don't believe that. In any case, you remember at the time, I think it was it the former Attorney General that said, yeah, they've gotten some money back from Switzerland or whatever, and they are going to use it for some national projects. And I think that's what Miriam, the wife, is talking about. That the money, it came back, but it has been taken out.
The body of the story
yes.
actually came out to state that just few months after his death, his savings vanished. That was what she said.
Yes.
The body of the story. And going back to what you just mentioned, those monies that were recovered, actually, if we're talking about accountability, where have those monies gone?
Leadership is all about transparency. It's all about accountability. And, well, again, you shouldn't be aloof from some of these facts. I mean, for every leader, I believe you shouldn't be aloof when people are saying it. Even during the Buhari administration, it was made clear that some money had been retrieved, repatriated, they say,
Exactly.
and the money was going to be used to do a few things. Nobody said that the money, except Buhari, who said, oh no, he didn't steal anything, because Buhari was a minister of, he was in charge of PTF
Yes, exactly.
when Abacha was there, so there's a kind of synergy. All right, but far beyond all of that, Nigerians got to know that yes, there was money stacked away somewhere in Swiss banks, and in fact all the major countries around the world. Nobody denied that. Okay, and truly we expected that this money would be plowed into certain development projects around the country. But what has happened? In other words, there's no transparency and there's no accountability. I thought, truly speaking, that an institution would be set up to manage those resources.
Exactly.
Yes, an institution, maybe in terms of an authority or commission or whatever, just for that. Because the money was huge.
Exactly.
It was huge. And we shouldn't pay lip service to it.
Exactly. So, how do you see the statements by Miriam? Is this the case of undying loyalty?
Well, Miriam has every right to say that. The husband, and he died in office. Let's not forget that. And therefore, he may have told her a few secrets before he died. But how many years ago that we are beginning to hear this kind of thing? Where has she been all this while? That is not beginning to say, she's not beginning to say that no, there was no looting or whatever it is. I believe, as I said, it's my opinion, and I think it's quite advisable. For slush funds, we must set up a kind of body to manage slush funds, kind of body either at the national level, even at the state level. I know a lot of governors took away a lot of things. We must set up special organs to manage these things, and those organs must report to government on a regular basis, so we know exactly what is happening. And if you ask me now, who is in charge of these slush funds? Tell me, who is in charge? Nobody. Occasionally, I mean, then the minister of the attorney general will come out to say one or two things. The minister of finance, and cross purposes, for example. But there must be a body put in place to talk about this authoritatively, and the head of that body must report to government on a regular basis. In fact, must report on a quarterly basis, in other words, about 4 times a year, to know the position and to tell Nigerians what these monies have been used for.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, on this note, I want to say thank you so much for staying tuned. But as usual, the CEO has a parting shot.
Well, the parting shot, my heart goes out in pain and in sympathy with those who lost their lives during the floods in the Niger State. Yes, it has become an international issue now. I think in the last count, over 200 people died, and thousands have been rendered homeless. We must prepare for such eventualities. The rains are here, and NIMET has told us that the rains will come in full force progressively. So government, I think, there are bodies responsible for these things. They shouldn't be laid back. They must get prepared for such emergencies. It's not when houses, properties have been washed away that will begin now to do some, go into some kind of reaction. But I think that right now we must prepare. We usually do not prepare for the rains. We do not. We do not. Of course, government will say, oh no, those of you in the lowlands, move to the uplands and so avoid deluge. But it's not enough. It's not enough, to be very honest with you. And it has become repetitive. If it's not the dam opening up today, it is rains, storms, and all sort of things. So we must do a lot more. But I want to thank Mr. President. I think he approved 2 billion for people in that local government.
Yes, exactly.
So that they can get rehabilitated properly. Yeah, but the state governments around that vicinity should also help. For instance, Niger has a boundary with FCT, for instance. I mean, there's no way the FCT should not help because they have a common boundary.
Yeah.
Okay, and what is good for the goose, they say, is good for the gander. It could be some other state, some other time, and people must watch out for the rains. And even locally, we must clear our drains. It is important. We must clear our drains, and it should be made. It should be made a serious offense. If you don't clear your drains, government should come down hard on the inhabitants in that area. Okay, and there must be inspectors. Yes, as we used to have in those days, health inspectors. I think there must be inspectors now to watch out for areas that are vulnerable. Okay, and report appropriately to the right quarters. I think that is that's what I have to say as a parting shot today.
All right, thank you so much, sir. And for you, Avia, thank you so much. Please remember to tell your friends and family about Providence Television International. Thanks for watching. Please stay tuned.